I will proceed to the mayor's report, and pleased to provide the mayor's report for the period of February 28th through March 12th, 2012. Highlight some of the events and meetings that I've attended over the last 2 weeks. First, on March 6th, I was invited and happy to participate in the University of Manitoba Faculty School of Social Work Career Fair that was held at Juniper Center. It was great to get out and see some of the booths in terms of the different organizations, as well as speak to some of the students, and certainly appreciate the efforts of all those involved to put that event on. On March 7th, I was pleased to attend at the Thompson Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I'll note that I was joined by Councillors Collada and Councillor Locker, and at that event I conducted the swearing-in ceremony of the new executive for the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to commend President Linda Marcus and all the members of the Executive Committee for taking on the challenges of acting on behalf of the Thompson Chamber of Commerce. And as I indicated at that meeting, I look forward to a continued strong relationship between the City of Thompson and the Chamber. In terms of some upcoming events, I can advise that, and I encourage people that we're going to be hosting as a community the Senior Varsity AAA Basketball Provincials this week, starting I believe on March 15th, and I encourage people to get out to Hardy Parker and take in some of the best in basketball action this province has to display at that level. And wish all the teams the best of luck, and certainly a special note to our local representatives. I'll note that I understand that the Thompson Neighborhood Renewal Corporation will be holding a tenants meeting on March the 20th. That's between 7 and 9 p.m. at the Steelworkers Hall to talk to tenants that are being impacted by some of the challenges relating to housing. And I understand there will be representatives there from the Residential Tenancies branch as well, and encourage people to attend and to contact Blake Ellis at TNRC if they require any further information. In terms of some of the other items that I want to talk about today, there's a number that are on the agenda in light of the season that we're at. The first one is a good news story as far as I am concerned, and that's that Mayor and Council received the annual safety audit for Safe Operations 2011 within the last 2 weeks, and I'm very pleased to say that Safe Operations is working in our organization and in our community, and I think that's something that we all can take some pride in. At the end of the day, the results are clearly pointing out 3 things. We are hurting less people, we are hurting them less severe, and as a result, we are saving taxpayers money. I don't think we could have better results. Our goal, as always, is zero harm and safe operations that cause us not to hurt people. But I am extremely proud of the efforts of our administration. I want to highlight Michelle Smook, as well as all our employees, because it is our employees and their commitment to safe operations that have made the difference. So that's a very good news story for the City of Thompson and our community. And again, I want to thank Valet for their commitment to support our safe operations through their commitment to their own safe production program. In saying that, here's a safety alert that unfortunately we continue to have to remind people. As I cross the Burntwood Bridge, the Miles Hart Bridge, again I am reminded as I look to the east that we have people crossing that river between the log boom and the bridge. And I'm not going to be so kind anymore. There is no excuse for stupidity. And that is what it is, and I'm telling you, the result will be likely members of Thompson Fire and Emergency Services or the RCMP may be called on to go and address an error that someone's made. To those that may not understand the realities of the Burntwood River, I would urge extreme caution crossing at any point. I am an avid snowmobiler. But I'll tell you this, even I know to cross between the log boom and the Miles Hart Bridge is sheer stupidity. And there is no excuse. And I urge people, please, if you're not thinking about yourself, think about those that may be called on to provide assistance. Another item I want to raise is, again, related to safety. I understand I was out of the city on the weekend, but I understand you enjoyed spring for a day. The result is the roads are extremely slippery. I suspect we are now into the season of thaw and freeze. I know Public Works was out today providing sanding of our streets, but please take caution on the streets and ensure you take the time to make sure the windows are defrosted. An extra minute or two may have a huge impact in terms of the safety of the streets. So again, I believe, Mr. Kaversky, we're going to be on the streets. We're making a commitment to, when we see those thaws, to open up the catch basins, to remove as much slush as fast as we possibly can to get us out of this thaw and freeze. But nothing will help us more than safe operations and caution by drivers. And again, especially in school zones, the sidewalks are slippery, children are walking back and forth, and I ask for the cooperation of the public. Two other items I want to note. One is the Paint Lake seasonal campsite draw is upon us. I've already heard from a number of residents in the community regarding some of the concerns with the accessibility of those sites. I can tell you that, again, as a city, we will follow up with the province of Manitoba, the Department of Conservation in 4 areas. One is the length of camping season in this community. I still, for the life of me, cannot understand why in northern Manitoba we have to have a different length of camping season than southern Manitoba. It doesn't make sense. We've asked for, I believe, 4 years for them to review that. I'm not sure where it's at. The second item is the number of spots, and specifically electric campsites that are available for residents. Third is the dock sizes and spaces available. And the fourth item is cottage development. I can tell you that these 4 items have been discussed with the Department of Conservation for the last 4 years. I have been promised for the last 4 years that they were working on a plan to address these. We haven't seen real movement. However, we are asking for an opportunity once again to meet with the representatives of the department to try and get an update on where they're at. I've said it before, Paint Lake is a gem and one of the real tools we have to retain and recruit people to this community, and we need the province of Manitoba to work with us and make it as best as it can be in providing that quality of life for northern residents. The last item I want to raise is we once again are experiencing some real issues relating to housing. I understand we are having, again, people displaced from housing units. And I believe, as I've said previously, this city council needs to come up with some real specific actions that may alleviate or minimize some of the housing impact. One of the ones that I'm asking that our administration and the development review look to immediately is looking at one of the solutions that helped this community address housing issues in the mid-70s when we were 24,000 people, and that is to look at basement suites. This province has legislation that I understand allows that as an option for housing. For a variety of reasons, Thompson moved away from that. I think it's once again time that we take a serious look at it. And again, through administration and development review, I'd ask to review the legislation and review the requirements that Thompson would have to look at in terms of bringing that back. But it absolutely concerns me that we may once again be displacing people from this community because we don't have adequate or housing options, and I believe we need to do everything we possibly can. When you lose people, I think it's even harder to try and get them back when housing might become available. So I'm going to ask Administration and Development Review to look at that. I don't have any proclamations at this time, and therefore that is the Mayor's report. Again, I understand I was out of town for a period relating to what I'm reporting on, so I'm going to ask members of council if there's any items or events that they may wish to share that they participated on behalf of council. Councillor Hogan?
Thank you. I have a bit of a theme for the events that I attended, but I'll let you guess what it is. On March 2nd, I spoke at the World Day of Prayer event held at the Thompson Pentecostal Assembly. It's an initiative coordinated by the Women's Interchurch Council of Canada, and the 2012 theme was Justice for Women in Malaysia. I spoke to the audience members about injustice in our world and reminded them that we're able to show compassion to those in our own city facing poverty and various forms of social oppression. On March 8th, it was International Women's Day, and I did a CBC Radio Noon interview with Marilyn Mackey, just highlighting women in politics, particularly the high number of women on our own council, and drawing attention to the protege program that we're hoping to implement in the fall. And also on March 8th, I attended the International Women's Day event held at the YWCA in partnership with the Thompson Crisis Center and USW Local 166 Women's Committee. They held a multicultural celebration with dance, stories, and celebrating the strength of women in our own community. And interesting enough, the International Women's Day 2012 theme for Canada was Strong Women, Strong Canada, women in rural, remote, and northern communities as a key to Canada's economic prosperity. So I thought that that was very, very telling and very appropriate for our community.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Fenske?
On a lighter note, I know there's a lot of U of S grads in the community, and I just want to congratulate Coach Adolph last night in their win over the University of Calgary Dinosaurs. Triple overtime, and they're off to the Nationals.
Your alma mater. Very good. Councillor Lafreniere?
No, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Clatta?
Thank you. I attended the Valley Community Liaison meeting on March 1st, and I apologize, I left my notes at home. But one of the initiatives the Valley is looking at is some training to bring people on board as employees who didn't qualify in the past, because we do have a high rate of unemployment in our surrounding communities, and they're looking at some basic training to bring them up to speed, because as you know, it's difficult for Valley to obtain enough employees. I'll review my notes when I go home, and if there's anything that the council really has an interest in, I'll write up a brief report for the councillors, because I apologize, I did forget to bring my notes, and Councillor Beyer was at that meeting. If she wanted to add anything, I'd be happy to have her do that.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson?
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. I just want to touch on two comments you made earlier. It's the irony of what you were talking about, housing in our community. Census said we went down about 5%. Therefore, it should be a 5% vacancy. But there is no vacancy. It's still zero. On a different note, I want to touch on what you mentioned about on the river, people crossing the river. Unfortunately, I feel it's not going to be a avid snowmobiler that will go down, possibly. It'll be the novice driver or youth of our community. So for all you daredevils out there who love to go and race across that open water, just remember, some youth or novice driver might be following in your tracks and may not make it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments, questions? I will call for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Robinson, Councillor Beyer, all those in favor? Unanimous. We stand adjourned.